Okay, let's just talk about electric cars for a moment. So we're now in 2025. Is now the time for you to make that decision and choose an EV that suits you? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 10 EV cars in the UK at the moment. There are a few in the list that actually might be a bit of a surprise. So let's take a look and see what are the best selling cars in the EV market in the UK and what other models there could be that are going to challenge some of the big hitters, maybe. So we're going to start off in 10th place, and this is the Volkswagen ID4. This vehicle belongs to the VW group and it offers a very good car, very versatile, has quite nice looks as well. Volkswagen cars tend to be built alongside Audis and Skodas. They kind of fall in that middle ground between the two. They tend to have the quality that Audis have and a little bit more expensive than what the Skodas tend to be, but overall, they're a very good, solid German make. So far in the UK in 2025, they've sold about 13,000 ID4s, which is a bit of a slow uptake, really, for such a well-known brand. The cars, well, they tend to do about 320-ish miles to a full charge, which makes them quite a long-distance vehicle. And unfortunately, they do come in with a VW price tag of about 44,000. Next on the list, we've got the Volvo EX30. This is a very safe car, as you would expect from Volvo, being that well-branded, over decades, safe, conscious manufacturer. But does Volvo lack style? Does it lack grace over safety? Well, the EX30 is a very nice looking car, to be fair. It comes in at about 14,000 units sold this year, so it's not a high selling vehicle at the moment, and it does about 275 miles to a full charge. But one of the big things about the EX30 is the price tag. It's £34,000. This makes it in that low to medium bracket, making it quite appealing to people who are maybe budget conscious. Okay, so one up from the Volvo in 8th place, we've got the Hyundai Kona, or Hyundai Kona, however you want to pronounce it. This vehicle is quite a nice looking car as well, as seem to be most of the EVs, apart from maybe the Tesla Cybertruck. The Hyundai Kona has sold about 15,000 units so far this year, so that puts them in 8th place. So it does an amazing 300 miles out of a 64 kilowatt battery. That is very high. And to top it off, it comes in at about £32,000. This Hyundai Kona is definitely a car that you need to keep your eye on going into 2025. It could become a what car favourite because of its price, engineering, and the range that it gives you out of a single charge. That might put bay to those that think that EVs are only for short journeys. So following up on the Hyundai is Skoda Enyaq. This is, again, another vehicle from the VW group. The Skoda tends to hit quite a sweet spot usually, if they're ICE cars or anything to go by. Spacious, practical, ideal for families. But the Skoda Enyaq has sold about 16,000 units in the UK in 2025 so far. The battery gives an impressive 339 miles to a full range, which makes it ideal for those long journeys and holidays around the UK or further afield, but it does come in at the 39,000 mark, so it's quite high up on that list of prices. Not as high as some we're going to see, so stay tuned to see which ones are the high price tags in this list, but Skoda is definitely up there, 39,000, but you are paying for a car that belongs to the VW Audi group. So technology in that car, it tends to be the technology that you would expect to find in the other brands as well. I mean, is Audi even going to be on this list? Okay, in 6th place, we've got another big hitting German manufacturer. This is the Mercedes EQA SUV. This is a lovely looking vehicle. It really is a nice car. It's only sold 18,000 in the UK so far. Why might that be? Well, I think it's partly because of the price ticket. It costs around about £47,000, which not only is an expensive vehicle to buy, but also would fall under the new UK government's tax on luxury vehicles. Anything above £40,000 gets hit with that. The car itself is a nice looking car, as I've said. It is an SUV, but it only does 264 miles to a full charge, which is less than what the Skoda Enyaq is, but these are two different breeds of vehicles. Next up in fifth place is one of my favourite vehicles so far. This is the BMW i4. This is a sexy looking EV car. It is gorgeous to look at inside and out. They've sold about 20,000 of these in the UK in 2025 so far. It does an impressive 365 miles to a full charge, but it does come with a price ticket. It's £54,000 thereabouts. But it's a BMW, again, another German manufacturer, one of the old crew. But it is a very nice, stylish, sleek looking vehicle. I cannot wait to see if I can find one of these at the show that I'm going to soon and maybe see if I can sit inside one. Doubt I'll be able to drive it. Okay. Coming up in fourth place is one of my favourites, my personal favourite, and this is the MG4. This is the car that I have. This is the car I love to drive on a daily basis. I've got the standard range model, which does about 200 miles for a full charge. The extended range can go to about 281, and then you got the X Power as well. The standard range for me is more than suitable in sport mode, about 170 brake horsepower. It costs about £26,000 thereabouts, one of the cheapest ones in the UK, and it's the first Chinese manufacturer on the list. They've sold about 22,000 of these in the UK. There's no stopping MG at the moment. They are definitely making the most of the UK market, and until you've driven one, you have no idea how good that car really is for the price that you're paying for it. Okay, we're going into the top three now. What will be first? Well, in third place, it is the Tesla Model 3. This is a very nice, sleek design, well known for its acceleration capabilities. It's a good all-round family saloon car, full of tech, absolutely brimming with it. And it's a nice car to look at as well from the outside. The range is about 320 to 420 miles, depending on what battery option you do go for. But they do come with a price ticket again, slightly cheaper than Mercedes. These come out at about 39,000 to start off with. Now, the price of these is likely to go up because of all the issues that are going on in America at the moment, Donald Trump, and that's a whole different story. But as it costs more to start manufacturing these cars because of tariffs, then that is going to be reflected in the UK market at some point. On the flip side, they may have a fire sale. They may decide that they're going to start selling them very cheaply because they are losing sales and they need to regain that market ground. So far, they've sold about 25,000 of them in the UK so far. Okay, can we have a drum roll, please? In second place, we've got the Audi Q4 e-tron. This is a very nice car. This is full of technology. This is full of equipment. There's value for money. Well, maybe not. They've sold about 28,000 of them in the UK. It's an Audi. You know what you're getting with the Audi, with the Durchsprung technique. It's like, this car is like bangers and mash. You know what you're getting if you buy an Audi. The range, about 316 miles to a full charge, which puts them in that kind of middle ground, really. But it does come with £45,000 starting price ticket. So again, it's high, it's more expensive than the ID4, it's more expensive than the Skoda Enyaq, but it's a Audi, it says it on the label, but a very nice car. So that leads us into first place. So what's in first place? Well, it's no surprise, for 3 years running now, it is the Tesla Model Y. With its impressive range of about 330 miles to a full charge, they've sold 35,000 of these units so far in the UK in 2025 at a cost starting from £45,000. So a little bit more than the Model 3, but you get more car for your money. Again, Tesla prices could start to rise, as I've said already, for various reasons. Could they be in the first spot next year? I'm not so sure. But it is a Tesla, and again, you know what you're getting. You're getting the latest tech and latest innovations in that vehicle. but it's the third year that they've won it. So who's going to knock them off that pedestal, I wonder? So we're going to have a look at a couple of competitors that didn't make the top 10, but potentially they could next year or even later this year as we carry on through 2025. So as we go through 2025, despite what the media seem to be telling us about car sales falling, EV sales falling, that this simply isn't the truth. And EV sales are beginning to skyrocket as people realize that they can save money by owning a EV car if they were going to buy a new car anyway. So what other makes should we be looking out for later this year? Well, the first one of note to me is the Nissan Ariya, Ariya, Ariya. This is a nice SUV vehicle. I've seen one of these. I've sat in one. It's a big vehicle. You definitely get a lot of car for your money, and they again they are packed with technology as well. They don't overcomplicate the instrument panel like some of the other cars do, like the Teslas. They have functional buttons, which a lot of people, like myself, do kind of like, rather than having to do things on the touchscreen display whilst you're driving. It's not ideal. Next, we've got the Polestar and the Polestar 2. Very sleek cars, very nice to look at. Wickedly fast on the road, but they do have a hefty price ticket with them as well. And bringing the brawn and the grunt to it is the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Quite a few of these on the roads in the UK now, and they're not a bad car to look at. Very American. It's not a look that I particularly like, but that's my personal preference. But they are nice. But they do offer a good range and power as well. So what about others then? What other manufacturers do we need to look out for? Well, a big one to me is the emerging BYD. The BYD Seal and Sea Lion are basically Tesla killer cars. I've gone to have a look at one of my previous videos where I went and had a look at the BYD cars. They are super sleek. They are packed with technology. They've got really good batteries. In fact, BYD are about to start using their solid state battery, which is going to make charging even faster than it already is. Their BYD Seal and Sea Line can go from 30% to 80% in about 25 minutes, which is just enough at the services for you to go for a comfort break and grab a Costa on the way. Other coffee makes are available, obviously, and I'm not paid by Costa. Um, but the cars are really nice to look at. BYD could be on my list in a couple of years when I decide to change my MG4, which I do really, really like. But BYD are a very nice looking manufacturer, and the Chinese, and they are relatively cheap compared to Teslas and Volkswagens and Audis. So I think the European market has got to watch out for BYD. They are a serious competitor. So as I've said, sales seem to be rising. In 2024, the number of EV cars on the road, new cars that is, made up about 19.6% of all car sales in 2024. If you add in the plug-in hybrids, that goes up to about 28.2%. So far in January this year, we've already reached just over 30% of cars on the road are pure EVs. So those sales of EVs is rocketing, it's climbing. One of the issues with EVs though is the consumer purchasing is lagging behind. This could be down to the fact that the media is constantly going on about the depreciation values of the car. Now every car will depreciate, that happens, but the media seems to be hitting EV owners even harder. Could this be because they're backed by oil producing companies maybe? But EV cars are depreciated. However, the depreciation is slowing down, especially as consumers actually learn that this myth out there that you need to replace a battery every 15,000 miles is complete false. So in the UK, the government are pushing for 28% of all new cars to be EV by the end of 2025, otherwise the manufacturers do face penalties. It's not just about the cost, it's about the air quality as well. So there are already signs in cities around the world where EV cars are more dominant that the air quality is becoming cleaner. So that's all for this video of the top 10 UK selling EV cars so far this year in 2025. If you found this video quite useful, please like and subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going down to Silverstone to an EV show, and I'm hopefully going to have some videos of the new models that are coming out. So stay tuned and make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss that video. Thank you very much for watching.